Hey there, it's Jasmine Starchild checking in with you. I have a message from the Red Moon Medicine Movement, and just like to send some gratitude out from my heart to Evolver for welcoming me and gifting us with this opportunity to discuss rites of passage. So the Red Moon Medicine Movement is dedicated to empowering women to reclaim their menstrual cycle as sacred once again. Look at menstruation and link it to rites of passage. What we're talking about is empowerment. We're talking about reclaiming menstruation, the blood flow, as a sacred ceremony. At this time, in order for us to get back to the sacred ways again as a culture, not just as women, but as a conscious community, one of the missing links actually is menstruation. So if you were to scan the globe and look at humanity, you will recognize that the human body is literally plugged up. And so in order for us to get connected back to the earth again, what we need to do is empower our women to sit down. We need to take time to support each other during this phase of hard work and ceremony and connection to divinity. So when I think of rites of passage in relation to menstruation, to me the most important thing would be to educate our youth, teach our young girls about their power as a life giver, their power as a fertile woman, and what it means to go from being a young child into a fertile young woman. And that's really what menarche is about. That's first blood, when a girl gets her period for the very first time. We need to gift her. We need to share with her and celebrate with her and teach her that this is an amazing opportunity and experience to get to know herself. So instead of us just handing her a box of tampons with an instruction pamphlet, what I'm suggesting is that we develop a new and modern rite of passage so that our children are not afraid of their bodies and that they can start to embrace this time as sacred once again. When we bleed, what's happening is we're being called to the earth, we're being called to the goddess, we're being called to our bodies, and what's happening is we are releasing the unfertilized energy that we no longer need, and so it must go back to the earth in a good way. So the first rite of passage is menstruation for a woman, and the second rite of passage would then become motherhood, if she so chooses to have a child, that is. Not everyone will experience that rite of passage, and that is of course a certain privilege, to be able to create life. So each month, a woman has the opportunity to deepen with herself and get to know if this is for her. And if a woman chooses not to create life, I would then empower you to regenerate your blood. We don't actually have to release an egg each month. Bet you didn't know that, but it's true. We don't actually have to bleed, and in the Taoist way, it is considered a chi loss to be creating eggs and releasing eggs if we don't actually need to, if we're not going to be having children. So that's another thing to focus on. And then the third rite of passage for women would then be menopause, when we are no longer fertile. So really, the different phases of life for a woman are marked by these rites of passage, and it all has to do with fertility in this one area that I'm speaking of specifically, that is. So of course we have many other stages that we go through, but in relation to the menstruation and the blood flow, creating a ritualized experience for the young girl to enter into womanhood is, I think, one of the biggest missing links to us embracing menstruation as a sacred act. So if the girl, she gets her first moon, is celebrated and adorned and empowered and educated about what that means to be able to create life, then each month as she enters her ceremony, I call menstruation a ceremony because it is our responsibility to pray during that time. So as she enters her ceremony, it will be much more aware and empowered and informed. There will be less fear, and women will be able to therefore take better care of their bodies. And when we take better care of our bodies, we have better health. When we have better health, we have better state of mind. And each year we have 13 opportunities to enter ceremony. So a woman will actually menstruate or bleed 13 times in a solar year. So that's why the number 13 is so sacred to us, 13 moons. And hopefully if we get connected to the ebb and flow of nature, we would be bleeding or releasing during the dark moon. So what I'm hoping to do and what the Red Moon Medicine movement is focused on is teaching women to create sisterhood and circles and tents and awareness every dark moon. It doesn't mean you'll naturally start flowing at that time right away. And you know, what's most important is just being authentic and allowing your body to do what it needs to do when it needs to do it. So there really is no right or wrong way, but what we want to do is reclaim it as a sacred act. So what I suggest each month is that the woman who is on her time would set up a menstrual altar. You could put red cloth, red candles. You might want to mark yourself with a beautiful red necklace or a red bracelet or something that starts to signify to people in your family or community that you're in your power at that time. And of course, a woman's power is emotion, intuition, flow, and it's important for us at that time to sit down. So for the longest time we have done what we can to prove our strength and standing up and standing beside the man in strength, in physical strength. And now that we know that we are strong, I'm here to dare you, really, to prove to the rest of us that you're strong in the sense of being vulnerable. Do you have the strength to ask for help each month? Do you have the strength to stop what you're doing? Do you have your strength to sit down and pray with me and sit with me in circle so that the men can become the strong warrior protectors? Once again, from the outside of maybe it's our bedroom, or maybe it's the red tent or a moon lodge. So when the women come back together in circle and sisterhood with each other, that allows the time for the men to get together and support themselves as well. So what we're looking at creating is individual rites of passage for each person, but then for each gender. And then we'll have like strong pillars in our own truth where then we can come back together as one. So that's a little bit about some of the rites of passage that I'm interested in reinitiating. So if you really look into shamanism and spirituality and want to practice helping the earth rebirth herself back to herself, what you're going to find is that supporting healthy menstruation and moon time is the most important thing that you can do for all of us, not just for women. And so creating these rites of passage, menstruation, motherhood, menopause, these are the three main celebrations for a woman.